Hey guys, back again. So this time we're going to change all this. I just added a new post here. I had to update my rules because it was not receiving any request. So just to get this working just for today, so we can continue with this. So remember that we're using these React hooks, okay? And I added that post because I wanted to test that everything was working. So okay. So remember that we're using React hooks form, and we did a lot of stuff. Let me just, I think it's this one. No, this is the one we're going to build in this case, or we're going to update, and this is the one that that we built. You can see we have this input with all the validations here using only the React hook form module. Okay, but we can agree that this is just maybe it's not too complex, but you know there are several steps here that if we had something that allow us to make this simpler, then it would be smart to use that. No, so what we're going to do is to change all this to you. So what I'm going to do is just start removing a few things, but I need to go here and here. This is the package that we're going to use, Ube, which is a schema builder for value parsing and validation. Okay, so you can see how or the several stuff that it provides, number, strings, mixed, that we're going to use. Okay, so let me just get this installed, and let's just go to is this one, my validation. Open a terminal, Mac, whatever. I mean terminal command prompt or whatever you have. So let's say npm install Ube and hit enter. This could take a bit. Sorry guys, and let's just continue with this. So I didn't have a plan to record all this today, but well, let's do it. Okay, so meanwhile, okay, while that is installing, why I have to? Oh, because it's running on one. Okay, the other one is running, so let's cancel that. And we're going to run in this console, so let's wait for that to install. And most of the stuff is going to be the same. Let me just recap something in my head so I can see that everything is kinda the same stuff. Decorate post, get post array, use effect, get post. I think everything is the same, but it's just in a different structure. So this should work. So okay, is this thing okay? It's still not installed, but let's do all the changes, and hopefully once it's installed, it's going to allow us to continue. So let's say import. Let's make this bigger. Okay, just like that. Import everything. Sorry, as Ube from Ube, which is still not installed, but let's call it anyways. And import. So we need this. We need to import the resolvers from at. Okay, we will need hook form resolvers. So are you going to install or what? Well, let's see. Why is not even? This is odd. Okay, it's starting to. Okay. So let me just move this out of the way so I can see the React form hook or React hook form. I can't remember. I think is. Let me just get there. This is the GitHub. What I want to see is the page, so I can show you something. What the hell is the? Let me just go back. What to use? No. I want to. Is this one? Okay. So for the documentation has been updated. So this is what I told you before. It's going to display this alert, and let's hit OK. So we go to the latest one, and here we should have, let's say, yup. Okay, so we have this. Let me see. Okay, it's below this one. Okay. So we will need to install the hook form resolvers in order to work with yup in this version. Okay, so this is what I was telling. So let me duplicate this one. Let me go back, because I saw a video of this guy using the a really good video, but he was using a version below, okay, I think, or a few versions below. So this is a new way of doing the validation with yup using React hook forms. We will need to install the resolver, so let's get this. So we already have yup installed, and let's install the hook form resolvers. They even tell you how to use it here. Okay, so you can see we need to import yup as yup and the yup resolver from a hook form resolvers. So this is the new stuff that we need to do. So let's get here and let's say yup resolvers. This is camel case, just like that. Okay, so we have the React form hook form. Sorry guys, it's lazy Monday, so excuse me. So we will need first to build an schema. So let's go outside of the main function and say constant schema equals yup.object. This is a method that shape. This is a shape, of course. Okay, this is another method from object, and we need to pass here the stuff similar to what we did. No, this is let me see. I haven't checked this code in a bit, so let me just make this smaller so I can see better. Okay, so this is actually what we're doing here is to register the inputs. Let me just move down a little bit. Or getting, sorry, not registering, getting the instance, so we can check now the validation without using all the stuff we did, for example, in the input like this. So let me just remove all this. This one is unchanged, so let me just remove this and leave the function or the form without any validation. So we're only going to let register here, so it registers with the hook form. And let me just make this remove this from the inputs and text area and require true. Let me just remove this. So we only need to register all the stuff, the title, the content, and the file, sorry, the cover. We only need to get this register inside the reference object. Okay, so we will need to remove also this on click and save this. Okay. So the errors should be kind of the same, but let's just remove all this and let's just build this again so we have a better look of how everything is going to change without all the extra stuff that comes from React hook form. So I have the is busy here, okay, the handle on submit is going to still remain there. The only thing that we're going to change is how we are validating the inputs. So we're going to check them using the schema. So, okay, and let's continue. Let's save this and let's continue. So we have this schema that is going to take the title. So we're going to say yup. Let me make this bigger again. Yup that string. So we expect this to be a string and it's going to be required. So we add a comma and add the content. Yup. We expect this to be a string. I don't think they have a kind of text functionality, so we just set it to string. So require, and remember that we have a maximum length, so let's say max, and we add the, you can see the limit number, so let's say 20 in this case. You can say whatever number you want, and this is the cover that is going to be again yup mix, which is kind of a custom checking, and we need to test for first is the name and then is the message. You can see that on the IntelliSense from Vue.js, I was going to say from VS Code. So let's say cover, this is the name of the input, okay, but we are passing there. So let's just get down here and you can see the name cover. Remember, we have only the reference register on all those and everything should be the same. So we're going to test it and test this in a little bit to see if we have any problem in the browser, so don't worry too much about that. The file is, no, the file must be JPG and value. So here we're going to receive what is inside of this input. So we're going to check if, well, let me say, I think I can say console.log value and see if we return something or well, let's leave it like that. Let's check it in the browser. Okay, we still are not using the resolvers, so let's see how this looks and if this gives us an error. Okay, let's open that. So, okay, because let's say npm start. Okay, it's starting. Okay, it opens on Brave, but we're going to open this one here. Okay, it's reloading, it seems. So let me just get, okay, we have an error which says parsing error unexpected coverage mix. Okay, okay, because I added this and just should be a comma. Okay, okay, it's defined but never used. Okay, so remember we have all this stuff from here, so let's just remove this because it's telling us that it's defined but those are never used. Let's save that and let's get rid of that and you can see we get the correct data. So if I hit submit, can already property name of undefined and submit. Okay, let me just get this. Okay, so what I did is just remove all these. Okay, let me see. Sorry. Main.js line 37. Okay, is this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this, just remove this, and I'm going to change it into its own get post. Okay, into its own function. Okay, so it's this one. So let me just paste that. It's the same functionality, it's just that it's going to be a new constant with an async. Okay, data is going to be passed, so we're going to pass the data from here, this onSubmit, into this function, and it's going to do the same thing. Okay, so let me just remove this. I added that as a, I think I explained that on the last video, so let's just save that and let's just see, submit. Okay, okay, you can see that it's not even telling us everything and has this upload file, please wait, but it's not actually doing anything. So what we need to do now is to use actually those this schema inside our use form. So we have this constant, we register handle submit and errors. We just move up. Where the hell is this? Okay, let me just do this. And let me just console the errors. Just in case, let me just add this line below here. We're going to remove that later. And I think I have that before, right? Okay, this one, let me just delete that one. So we have everything in the same place. The form should be okay. We still are not displaying the errors, but we will do so in a bit. So just to recap, in case I lost you guys, we added Joop, okay, we installed Joop and import them. We also imported a Joop resolvers from hook form resolvers, which we already installed. We created an schema which is going to take every register, okay, every register input, and it's going to validate it using this schema. Okay, so for the title we are going to check that this is a string and that is set because it's going to be required. The same for the content, except that we're going to add a maximum length of 20, and the cover is going to be a mixed object on which we're going to say cover, the name of what we're going to check, and an error message that we want to show. Okay, so in this case we are going to check here if we have the JPG extension only. So we already have that in place, but we need to add it. So we say resolver and we add the Joop resolvers, no, resolver, and inside this we add the schema that we added outside of the main function. Okay, you can see that this is outside, and let's save that. Okay, it shouldn't be this, it should be only a comma in case you want to add more stuff there. Okay, it's going to complain about that. Now it's not complaining, and you can see the file list, which is on line 12. Let me just get there. And you can see this is the value, so we are getting the file list. Okay, and from here we will be able to get whatever property we need so you can see the errors. Let me just make this a little larger. Content is a required field. Cover, the file must be JPG, but of course this is only checking, well, it's not actually checking anything. And the title is a required field. Okay, so these are the errors that Joop is providing us, and it parses again. It shows again for some reason which I can't understand. So you can see now this is connected. We created a schema. We pass all the inputs and text area or whatever we want to check. We add the validation, and you can check on the Joop GitHub all the stuff they have. They have a pretty big list. Let me just go there. That you can check, uppercase, lowercase, you know, a ton of stuff that you can check just to fine tune your validation. You can see that it's a ton of things that I think you will be able. I think you can click this, okay, and then they take you to the example code, okay, so you can see how this works. Now it's not that one, it's this one. Okay, so now we are connected, but what we need to do here, okay, let's actually first display the errors on the okay, so let me just do this. Since we have this add data or add post, let's say add post, we're going to call it and pass data. Okay, the only thing we did is just to move the functionality of the uploading and setting of the post into its own function called add post. We call now here on line 34 the add post function, and we pass the data. It's just the same stuff, okay? Just that the onSubmit now looks a little cleaner, and we could just move this out of the way. So let's actually go here and start adding the error messages. So this is the same thing as we had before. So let me just type it. Errors. So we have this errors object. You can see constant errors. Title, which is the name of the field, and the render, in case we have that, is going to be a paragraph with class name, error, and post title. Or we can say something like, I think it's like this: error, errors that title sorry, and message. This should work, that message. So let's see if that works. We can also define our own methods, I mean a message. So submit, and you can see title is a required field. We get that error, and we just do the same for the other one. Okay, let me just copy this. So this one is going to be changed to content, and also this one. But remember, we have a max length here, so we're going to say, okay, so let me just show you what is going to happen with this. If I do this, it's going to say content is a required field, but okay, so this file list is because I'm consoling the file list, so content must be at most 20 characters. Okay, so that's showing. Actually, we don't need to do another thing, so that actually is fine. So let's just get the console of the checking out of the way. Let's just leave it like that and say return value only for now. So what if you have different types? You could just do something like errors and error type, error content type, and the render that you want to add. So if you have multiple types and you want to do something with those, you can just say content and the type of the error that is going to be set, and you can just call it and receive that. So in this case, we're only going to check for any error that is inside this content and just parse and show that error. So the last one is going to be the cover. So let's actually say errors.cover and again the class name equals to error and the errors that, let's close that, cover that message. Okay, so let's see. We have this, and right now it's not going to show anything. So what if we add the require into this? Let's see what happens. I haven't tested this before. So it's not even displaying. Okay, I will need to check that later. But we should be able to add it into the test, but right now let's just continue with only the checking of the, let me just see something. So let's go to mixed, concat describe is type default null level mix require, and you can see we have this mix require. So this should be okay. Maybe if I require it, it's going to work without the test. So maybe we could define some other or check it inside the test. So let me just see what the test looks like. Name string function. Okay. The options, name string, test value boolean, message string. Test name exclusive parse message. Okay, you can see that you can actually get all this stuff and customize it. But I want to see if value is valid. Okay, I will need to take a deeper look at that because it's not receiving the required by default, which I thought it was doing. So okay, let's just leave it like that and let's just move on. So you can see, you can just do your research there. Sorry, my freaking English. So we need to actually finish this with the checking here. So I think we could even do is check if the value, I mean, in case we want to require or set a require to this value not equals to undefined or null. Okay, undefined or null, and you can just return something or set a new error, which I think you should be able to. But in this case, the value 0 is the first value inside the file list, so it's the actual cover stuff. So we need to say if value, okay, if that actually exists, if there is something, let's say return the value and the checking of the value. If I can type the type of that value if it's equals to image JPEG. So it should be all. Let me just go back. Let me just refresh this. Okay. So whatever we want, all this should be fine. And I am here, so I have this JPEG, but I have some PNGs here. And submit. And you can see the file must be JPG. Okay. And let me just add something else there. Okay, so let me just move this and grab a PNG, which not PNG, sorry, I don't have any freaking file. Okay, this one, open, and you can see we get that, but now the content is complaining because the content shouldn't be max the 20 characters that we specify inside the schema. Okay, so let me just recap a little bit. Okay, it was jup resolver, not resolvers, which I copied wrong. Sorry guys about that, but VS Code injected the correct code. Okay, that is a nice feature. So let's just recap. So first we install jup and hook form resolvers. We import them into the component. We have the validation, or where we want the validation. We need to create an schema. Okay, what happened there? Okay. We need to create an schema in order to say which inputs or covers or checkboxes or whatever we want to have the validation, and according to what they display us or what they show us here on their GitHub, we can check maybe if the string matches something. Okay, or you can see that it was something like Control F email. Let me just move up, jup string email, something like that, and here you will add, not there, but here you will add all the stuff that you need in order to validate the correct stuff on your inputs or whatever. Okay, so for this one we only had three, so title, content, and cover. And the cover, remember that with the last stuff, with only the React form hook, we did a ton of stuff there, but now we just grab this mix object and we use the test functionality in order to check the input that we want. We add the specified message, and then here inside the value we're going to receive the value when this checking is being done, and we can just check whatever we want here. So we could check if the value is undefined and return whatever. So remember also that we only need to register in this case with the React hook form, so we need actually that. And here on the form we also call register the handle submit, which is going to handle our functionality. Let me just remove this console log errors. The errors, which is going to display us the errors. And inside the use form we use the new resolver, sorry, and the jup resolver in order to add the schema, so it's going to validate everything according to what we have here. Okay, so that's all actually. You can see that it looks, let me just make this smaller, it's kind of, so you can see that it looks now a little simpler. The form looks a little simpler without all the stuff we needed to do for the cover. And yeah, so it's looking fine. So I think that's all. I'm sorry guys, I didn't botch this. I hope I didn't botch this topic too much. Just that I didn't have planned to record today, but just in case, well, I went ahead and do it. So I'm going to make this into its own repo so you can have the two, the React hook form and this Jupe validation. Okay, so you can just reference that and use them whenever you want. So that's all, guys, and see you in the next one.